which is at a war with Hamas, which controls the Gaza Strip. More than 1,100 people have been killed on both the sides since the war broke out on Saturday. That is, after Hamas rained thousands of rockets on Israel in a surprise pre-dawn attack from Gaza.
In a world where history and geopolitics collide, one enduring conflict has captivated the global stage: the ongoing struggle between Israel and Palestine. What drives this seemingly endless confrontation? Can there ever be a lasting peace in this troubled region? Since the mid-20th century, this tumultuous saga has sparked intense debate and left us pondering questions that resonate with the very essence of humanity. Join us on a journey to uncover the riveting narratives, untangle the complexities, and explore the hopes for resolution in the continuing conflict between Israel and Palestine. Will the future hold answers to these profound questions? Origins of the conflict. The origins of this conflict and the layers of distrust run deep, reaching back well before the founding of Israel in 1948. The region stretching from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea is a focal point, claimed by both Palestinians and Israelis. This land holds profound religious significance for Christians, Jews, and Muslims alike. Over the past 70 years, this tumultuous history has been marked by wars, uprisings, and occasional moments of optimism, where the prospect of compromise briefly emerged. The conflict sets Israeli security concerns, given their historical perception of a hostile region, against the Palestinian dream of establishing their own state. David Ben-Gurion, the founding figure of Israel, declared the birth of the modern state of Israel on May 14, 1948. This moment marked the establishment of a sanctuary for Jews seeking refuge from persecution and yearning for a national homeland on land they claim to have profound ancestral connections to over generations. Palestinians mourn the establishment of Israel as the Nakba, or catastrophe, which resulted in their dispossession and dashed their hopes for statehood. In the ensuing conflict, around 700,000 Palestinians, constituting half of the Arab population in the formerly British-ruled Palestine, either fled or were forcibly expelled from their residences. These displaced individuals found themselves in regions such as Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, as well as within Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. Israel, a staunch ally of the United States, disputes the claim that it forcibly evicted Palestinians from their homes. Instead, Israel contends that it came under attack by 5 Arab nations on the very day of its establishment. Although the hostilities ceased due to the armistice agreements in 1949, a formal peace treaty was never established. Today, the Palestinians who remained in their homes during the conflict constitute the Arab-Israeli community, comprising approximately 20% of Israel's population. War and conflict. In 1967, Israel initiated a preemptive attack on Egypt and Syria, commencing the Six-Day War. Subsequently, Israel has maintained control over the West Bank, Arab East Jerusalem, which it seized from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria. In 1973, Egypt and Syria launched an offensive against Israeli positions along the Suez Canal and Golan Heights, marking the onset of the Yom Kippur War. Israel managed to repel both armies within 3 weeks. In 1982, Israel launched an invasion into Lebanon, leading to the evacuation of thousands of Palestinian fighters under Yasser Arafat by sea after a 10-week siege. Another conflict erupted in Lebanon in 2006 when Hezbollah militants captured 2 Israeli soldiers, prompting an Israeli retaliation. In 2005, Israel withdrew from Gaza, which it had occupied since the 1967 war with Egypt. However, Gaza experienced significant escalations in violence in 2006, 2008, 2012, 2014, and 2021. marked by Israeli air raids, Palestinian rocket attacks, and occasional cross-border incursions. In addition to these wars, there were two Palestinian intifadas or uprisings, one from 1987 to 1993, and another from 2000 to 2005. The second intifada included a series of Hamas suicide bombings targeting Israelis. If you're enjoying it so far, hit the subscribe button. Now, let's continue. Peace efforts. In 1979, Egypt and Israel inked a peace treaty, marking the end of 3 decades of hostility. Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and Arafat shared a historic handshake on the limited Palestinian Autonomy Agreement, known as the Oslo Accords, in 1993. Israel further solidified its peaceful relations in 1994 by signing a peace treaty with Jordan. The Camp David summit in 2000, involving President Bill Clinton, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and Arafat, failed to secure a final peace deal. In 2002, an Arab initiative presented the possibility of normalizing ties between Israel and all Arab nations in exchange for Israel's full withdrawal from the lands captured during the 1967 Middle East War, the establishment of a Palestinian state, and a just solution for Palestinian refugees. Peace efforts have remained at an impasse since 2014 when negotiations broke down between Israelis and Palestinians in Washington. Subsequently, Palestinians boycotted interactions with the administration of U.S. President Donald Trump due to its reversal of decades-long U.S. policy, which refused to endorse the two-state solution, a peace framework envisioning the establishment of a Palestinian state in the territory Israel seized in 1967. Diplomatic challenges. The U.S. President Joe Biden's administration has placed a significant emphasis on seeking a comprehensive Middle East agreement, which encompasses the normalization of relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia, the guardian of Islam's two most sacred sites. The current conflict poses diplomatic challenges not only for Riyadh, but also for other Arab nations, including certain Gulf Arab states, neighboring Saudi Arabia, which have entered into peace agreements with Israel. Core conflict issues. At the heart of the conflict are several key issues. Number 1. Two-state solution. This involves creating a separate state for the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip alongside Israel. While many nations support this idea, Hamas, a Palestinian political and military organization, rejects it and seeks the destruction of Israel. Israel insists that any Palestinian state should be demilitarized to ensure its security. Number 2. Settlements. Jewish settlements built on land occupied by Israel in 1967 are a contentious matter. Most countries consider these settlements illegal, while Israel justifies them by citing historical and biblical connections to the land. Number 3. Jerusalem. Jerusalem, with its religious significance to Muslims, Jews, and Christians, is a focal point of the dispute. Palestinians desire East Jerusalem as the capital of their state, while Israel claims the entire city as its indivisible and eternal capital. This assertion is not internationally recognized. In 2018, former U.S. President Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, although the extent of its jurisdiction in the city remained unspecified. Number 4. Refugees. Approximately 5.6 million Palestinian refugees, mainly descendants of those who fled in 1948, reside in various regions including Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, the Israeli-occupied West Bank, and Gaza. A significant number of them remain stateless, often residing in crowded refugee camps. Palestinians insist on the right of return for refugees and their descendants. However, Israel argues that any resettlement of Palestinian refugees should occur outside its borders. Assessment of the Palestinian struggle and the role of international advocacy. Ibrahim Musa, a scholar from the University of Notre Dame, argues that Gaza's fighters are advocating for Palestinian rights. Palestinians are seeking the return of their land, their freedom, and the realization of the promised statehood. However, the feasibility of establishing a Palestinian state is now in question due to Israel's extensive territorial acquisitions, explained Ibrahim Musa, a Middle East expert. Musa goes on to clarify that Palestinians are not celebrating the violence initiated by Hamas, but they perceive it as an effort to champion their cause and people. According to Musa, the blame for violence cannot be solely placed on Hamas. Israel also shares responsibility for the conflict. We cannot merely look at events from Saturday, October 7th. We need to consider what transpired several months ago in the West Bank, where settlers under the protection of the Israeli army displaced Palestinians from their land, Musa stated. Musa identifies several triggers for the conflict, but he emphasizes that the primary one is the anguish and desperation of the Palestinian population. To bring an end to the war, Musa underscores the necessity of peace and continued advocacy to the government officials by concerned Americans. He urges people to contact officials standing with Israel and Palestine. In the complex tapestry of the Israel-Palestine conflict, we've delved into its origins, examined the enduring challenges, and explored the diplomatic landscapes. It's a story of deep historical roots and profound human aspirations, yet one marked by persistent tensions and disputes. As the world continues to grapple with this multifaceted issue, one thing remains clear: the quest for peace is as relevant as ever. Will there ever be a resolution that satisfies both sides and brings lasting tranquility to this troubled region? The future holds the answers to these profound questions. If you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks for watching.